Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. You know, there were many things I had bounced around in my head today that I was going to maybe talk about, maybe not talk about, wasn't really sure. I decided at the last minute that I should probably do what I had talked about many times in the past, which is go back to what people send me. Members are here for a reason. Some of you are members, and you send me stuff. And people have been sending me stuff, and something came, two different types of the same video came. No, that's wrong. Two videos of a similar subject, there we go, came to me. And I thought, you know what? This might be something. And one came recently, and one came like last week. I thought, okay, this may still be something that's kind of interesting. And it is local. It's New York. It is people supporting or not supporting Zohran Mamdani. Why does that matter? Because this might actually be something that that's going to affect people when it comes to the future of the Democratic Party and perhaps even the future of New York State, New York City, whatever the case may be, all those things. So I thought it was kind of interesting. I actually found a couple of them, right? That was easy. I found a couple of them. So let me see if I can grab some of these. Hold on. Hold on. I think I may have an issue I have to work on real fast. Did I mess something up? Give me a second, guys. I think I may have an issue I have to work on real fast. Did I make an error someplace here? Give me a second, guys. I'm looking for something I may have made an error I'm going to work on right now. Hold on. I think I may have made an error someplace in my, hold on. Give me a couple of seconds. I got to work on something. Maybe I should put some music on or something like that. Is that going to be the issue? Let me see. No change. I don't know what is going on here. For some reason, I'm not seeing myself popping up on Civil here. If you guys are watching on Civil, I don't see myself on Civil unless I mess something up. I don't see myself on Civil, even though I should be on Civil. So some of you guys are watching on Civil, I know, but I don't see. Could someone do me a favor? If you happen to be on Civil, please check and see if I'm running on Civil. I don't see myself running on Civil, and I should be running on Civil. It could be me, could be on my end. But I just want to make sure if you do see me, please let me know. I don't see myself running on Civil, and I should be running on Civil. So anyway, let me know if you see me there and I can make a change. What I want to talk about here is why in the world are people in the Democratic Party holding off on making a decision on Mamdani? Now, Cuomo isn't. I'll give Cuomo that. I'm going to give Cuomo that. At least Cuomo said, nope, he's a bad guy. Against him, I am fighting, right? I get that. At least Cuomo's doing that. That's something, I guess. But generally speaking, most Democrats are trying to bounce back and forth. They're trying to figure out, okay, how do I do this? When do I do this? They're trying to figure this out. It's a problem. Here, though, is, and those who are, there's the battle between leftists, I guess, and actual Democrats. And let me give you a little bit, if I could. I'm going to show you a couple of people. All right. I'm going to give you a couple of people if I can. So you'll see this. Okay. So I am running on Civil. Good. It's my issue on Civil. No worries. I'm glad I'm on Civil. Thank you, VA. I see it. Yep. I'm on Civil. Just want to make sure. I wasn't sure if I couldn't see myself. My issue, not yours. Let me keep going. All right. So this is Cory Booker jumping on and trying to answer the question on whether he is going to support Zohran Mamdani. Let me see if I can pop this real fast. This is, and Cory Booker, of course, is trying his best to become like a heavy hitter in the Democratic Party. He is trying his best. All righty. And here is the one and only Cory Booker talking trash.
New Jersey Senator Cory Booker says he isn't endorsing New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani.
He's not.
I have learned a long time ago. Let New York politics be New York politics. We got enough challenges in Jersey. I got a governor's race. I'm supporting Mikey Sherrill. I got legislative races.
See that?
That's where my energy is going to go going into November.
Booker is.
And that's what he said. He's not going to do that. See that? He's not doing that. See that? That's awesome. But you know who is doing it? Believe it or not, is Elizabeth Warren. So you might say, well, wait a minute. Okay, she's doing it. Yep, let me give you a little bit from her, what she's doing, so you'll see how she's doing it. And this is Elizabeth Warren wholeheartedly jumping on board in this case. And here's what she's saying. Let me grab this and start from the beginning.
You mentioned Mamdani, and you are in New York, sort of speaking in behalf of him to a certain extent. You know, I wonder, though, often we see this, and this is a local election. New York does not operate in a vacuum. It competes with other cities. And so this idea of somehow raising taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers, who, by the way, I would point out, pay roughly 15% of their income right now between city and state. Raising taxes on them will simply drive them away. Shouldn't the focus of a mayor be on delivering services to?
Now, this is the argument you'll have all the time. And I'm going to give Elizabeth Warren some credit on this. And I don't usually give her much at all. But here's what I'm going to say. She at least did jump on board, and she did answer these questions. I mean, not well, because you can't, but she did at least. Cory bounced up. Cory is an embarrassment. He is really being terrible, but here we go.
Constituents of the city, and doing that by raising the most revenues possible without chasing businesses and the high income taxpayers out of the city, because they can go to Austin, they can go to Dallas, they can go to Atlanta, they can go to Nashville. This is your issue. It's a national issue, not a local issue.
The issue is affordability. Do you know how many working families are chased out of New York City every day because they can't afford housing, they can't afford groceries, they can't afford
Now, this is the thing. She's not wrong in what she's saying. This is true. People are leaving because of these issues. That's accurate. So what's the answer?
Childcare. What Zohran is saying is, I want people to be able to afford to live in New York City. That's what keeps it a vibrant city.
She's not, everything she's saying is not wrong. This is great. When they say, hey, everything he's saying is wrong. Okay, so can you fix it? Let me now give you a history lesson and report the news to you. This is what I hear all the time, reporting news. And why does no one ever stop this? Why doesn't someone go, I get it. I know you're just reporting the news to me. You're just reporting the news to me.
That's what makes people want to live
Nobody
here.
disagrees with that, Senator.
Thank you. No one disagrees. You've said nothing. You've just said, just stuff. Nothing.
Raising taxes in order to do it?
Oh,
why is that
goodness.
the answer?
Oh, dear. Are you worried that billionaires are going to go hungry?
And now she goes to dismissiveness, right? This is classic Democrat conversation. And now dismiss. So report the news and say how bad things are, and then dismiss. Note, she said nothing else.
No, I'm worried that they're going to leave and spend their money elsewhere.
You know, they've threatened to do that over and over and over.
And they have. They've left.
But here's the thing.
Okay, she ignores the facts. But here's the thing. They've threatened. This is nothing you'll find them do. They will acknowledge that they've heard it before and then dismiss it, which was just did. Remember, the right will distract, the left will dismiss. She just merely dismissed it. Yeah, they've been saying that forever and doing it. The IRS has said, IRS numbers, New York State has lost $20 billion every year since like 2020, 2019, something, I forgot what number it is, last 4 or 5 years. $20 billion every year due to migration. And that's not me making that up. That's not me saying it's migration. That is the IRS saying it's due to migration, people leaving the state. So it's literally happening, and the government is actually saying it themselves. So she dismisses it. Her government is literally saying it. This guy is actually correct.
And Goldman Sachs, when they create new jobs, they do it in Dallas. And Blackstone won't build a new.
They do it. Everything he's saying is true. I've been telling you forever. Finance is moving to Texas and Florida. That is happening all over. You're seeing it everywhere. They used to go, for those of you paying attention, they used to go to San Francisco because they were following tech in San Francisco. But tech's been leaving California. So back in the day, tech used to follow finance. That's maybe 40 years ago, give or take, right? In that area, tech would follow finance. And Brooklyn was growing for a while because the tech bros would go to Brooklyn to be close to Wall Street because that's where finance was. Those days are over. Now, finance follows tech. So tech is moving to Florida and to particularly like Bitcoin, stuff like that, crypto, them heavily moving to Florida, and other finances moving to Texas. He is correct. Warren does not know what she's talking about.
Headquarters. Go on and on.
You want to have a workable city. You want to have a city that's
Utterly dismissed it.
vibrant. You want to have a city where the streets are full, where there are things for sale 24 hours a day. Then
you shouldn't have locked the city down in 2020. For those of you who live in New York City, you know, this city used to never sleep. Remember that saying, the city never sleeps? That was true. It now does. If you live in New York City, it now sleeps. Why? Lockdowns. Once the lockdowns hit, the city never came back the way it was before. The lockdowns devastated this city. Devastated it. Crushed the neighborhoods, crushed the nightlife, destroyed so much stuff, and she was 100% behind it and still is. She is part of the problem and the reason why New York is destroyed. She is.
need people who can live here and work
Well, we've
here.
got that right now,
Not
by the
people
way.
who
I
have
would
to
point
take
out
an
New
hour
York
and a
is
half
is thriving. So
New York's not thriving. He lives in a goddamn fantasy world. That's not
right
true.
now it's doing
people-
pretty well,
I'm
actually.
glad you think they're doing well because a lot of people are struggling to pay for housing. A lot of people
Yep.
are struggling to pay
That's
for
true.
groceries. And
True.
I got to tell you, mamas and daddies who are facing $25,000 a year to pay for childcare.
Now, couldn't you instead then, with all these things, couldn't you instead say something like, as an example, hey, why don't we look at other cities in America who are not having this problem? One of them being Houston, which is in Texas, for those who don't know, where everyone's going to, right? Houston has millions upon millions of people. It's like a fourth or third largest city. It's in the top five, but I think it's fourth largest city in America. New York's number one, LA's number two, and I think Phoenix, or is it Houston? In that area, it's top five. Whatever it is, that big city in America. They don't have a housing problem. Is it because they froze the rent? No. Is it because they gave free buses? No. Is it because they taxed the rich? No. They just ended zoning. Yes. The weird part is, if you actually care about landlords, you'll have more landlords. It's not magic. It's true.
Those
lot
are
of them end
national
up-
issues.
They
I mean, I
are
know
an
they are the
issue
local
right
state, but you
here
can't.
in New York City.
Yes, but if you deal with them in that way, by what is always your backup, just tax them more, they will leave.
No,
Yep.
the backup is make this city and make this country work for everyone. I get that the
That's true.
Republican point of view is make this country and make every city in this country work better and better for a handful of billionaires and let
Now she goes to the straw man argument, right? Because he's destroyed her actual argument because she has no answer. So instead she says, oh, great. So then let's just, you only care about billionaires. Not what he said, not even what Cuomo said, not what anybody said, but she just says that straw man argument to dismiss you.
everybody else eat dirt. But what Mom
Everybody else eat dirt. No one said that, never was said. She made that up. That's the norm.
Mamdani won on in a Democratic primary is he said, I'm going to address affordability. And
True.
he didn't win by one
No,
vote.
he won by a lot.
He
It's very
won
much
by a
unclear he
lot.
has the ability to actually do it, by the way, based on the laws and what the governor has to say and what he would actually have to do.
You know, I love that as the fallback position. And that is he's fighting for the right thing, but maybe the billionaires will have a way to
everybody
block
wants a
him.
more affordable city. There's no doubt about
No.
that.
That's the point. I agree.
Question
I
is how you go.
actually do
Well, you
have
build,
a doubt about
you
that. The
build more
billionaires
housing.
sure don't want to pay their part on it.
The billionaires don't want it. Everything is the billionaires' fault, right? It's either an ism, a phobia, or billionaires. That's always the problem. Every single time. Billionaires, an ism, or a phobia. Every time.
If you build more housing, you do try to make it more affordable, but it is a very difficult thing to do. You know that around the country. This is not an issue that just here in New York. It's everywhere.
But it's not an
Yep.
issue that Eric Adams was fighting for. It's certainly not an
I
issue
think-
that Andrew
I
Cuomo
think
is
the
fighting
mayor
for.
would say they have.
She's not wrong on that either. Okay? Yeah. That actually is usually a Republican tactic, was distraction. Not bad. That was good. She threw just
I'm
she
not
threw one
Trying
of
to
my
focus
Yeah.
on building as many new.
Mamdani is the one who said, I will make this a priority. And you know what he said? He said, I'm really going to lean in on childcare. I'm really going to lean in on housing. And I'm even going to try some new things to bring down the cost
So
of
it doesn't
groceries.
concern you that
I'm
he's
not going to sit around and pretend, oh,
She's not wrong on this one in that he did say so. No one else is bringing up any answers. And that's what I was telling you guys. 1,000 times I say this, right? When people have the option of no answer or a bad answer, they take the bad answer because the other one is no answer. Cuomo has no answer. She's not wrong, right? Adams has no answer. She's not wrong, right? She's not wrong. Sliwa has no answer. She's not wrong. They all have no answer. Mamdani has an answer. It's a terrible answer, but it is an answer. She's right. This part, she's right. And she should just say that. At least then she'd be telling the truth.
It's a federal problem. Let the federal government
you can
fix
you can
this.
say all these things, but again, I think many people would disagree to the extent that by raising taxes and making it more.
Yeah, but this is why he's wrong. He's wrong because he's privileged too. They're all privileged, but he's privileged too. His privilege is he's like, well, that's not going to work. Great. What's your answer? He has none because he's doing fine. He said the city's doing great. The city's not doing great. He's doing great. I'm not mad at him for doing great. Good for you. You're doing great. But don't try to act like the city's doing great. It's not. The state still loses 300,000 people per year, and the city loses at least 100,000 per year. So the city's not doing great. It's having lots of problems. That's the reason why Mamdani won the primary, because the city's not doing great, right? It's not doing great. He's doing great. So he has no answer. So guess what? They're going to go with what Warren says because you got no answer. You need to have an answer or Democrats going to make this happen. So, you guys doing gifts, guys. Thank you so much. Phil, gifting a Sharpe membership, guys. Thank you so much, Phil. I appreciate that. Guys, if you want to become a member, you can. Please grab one of Phil's memberships, or Joel, also being awesome, gifting a Sharpe membership. I bug you guys for membership because it does matter. If you can, please grab one of those. If you can't grab one of those, please become a member. It's $4.99 per month. Click that join button. Make that happen. Come on board because members get to. I did this because I got 2 different videos on this. That's why I picked this tonight. So members get to send me videos, right? So that now I can do that. I can actually do reactions to them because I'm paying attention to what you're doing and what you're saying. So yes, that actually does work. Hold on here. And there is something else I want to pop up here. We are going to have a member show. Member show right at the moment looks like it is going to be, looks like September 5th. So probably I'll make sure it looks like it's going to be September 5th. September 5th will be our next member show where members will be able to come on the show and be with me here on the show talking trash. I'm going to try to make it happen September 5th if I can. I might make it happen a little bit earlier. I might move it forward, but the odds are December 5th will be the day. I will let you know as it keeps going, but I have not forgotten about you. I told you I'm going to be doing it, and I will be. So yes, membership does matter. Guys, if you can become a member, please do so. Either through these guys being so cool and gifting memberships or grabbing yourself if you want to. So yes. All righty. Let me keep walking down this road a little bit further.
Owners for business that create the jobs, that create the revenues on which tax revenues come from, that you'd ultimately be dealing with a smaller pie. He may succeed by driving everybody out. Rents will go down.
That the best way to run city government or national government is to start with the billionaires and say what will work.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that. She's making this up, right? This is the thing that they do all the time. Just making it up. Josh says Warren's a socialist. True. This is true. That is absolutely true. Yes. Rick Reynolds says DSA has a poison pill to sabotage the cause. It's called abolish the family. The sad part is that many of them do want to abolish the family. I think that's actually true. And that's going to destroy our nation. It's already destroying our nation, right? You see as the breakdown of the family is wrecking our nation. It's absolutely true. We're having worse outcomes with children, worse outcomes with education, worst outcomes with everything. The family is absolutely collapsing. So it's true. Yes. Rick goes on to say, actually, the whole woke thing is like a lab sterilized mosquito released to mate with the mosquitoes in the wild population control. It's stupid Marxism that swaps identity for class. Yeah, it's kind of true. Both of them are not good. Both of them are not good. I would agree. So, all right, let me grab some of this. Patty says, hello, my sharp civilians. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you. Vin is in the house. The man himself, Mr. Varghese. New York City's best criminal defense lawyer right there. Oh, he's in Japan. What you doing in Japan, man? I love it. I'm glad you're there. I love that. There we go. John says, I am a sadistic and I have enjoyment out of seeing Elizabeth Warren get visibly angry. We'll see if she does. So here we go.
Best for you. Vote Republican.
I don't think anybody in New York is talking about doing that.
If you do.
Yeah, no one is. Everything what Warren says right now at this point. I mean, she said some things that are true, but that's just once she gets trapped. Warren does this often. Most Democrats would do this. Again, Republicans Republicans distract, Democrats dismiss. Both use straw man, but Democrats use strong man more than Republicans use straw man. What Republicans will use is indignation or particularly patriotism. Yeah, you're not loyal. They'll use that a lot. You're not loyal. What you'll hear often is Republicans say, you don't want your president. You don't care about your country. They do that kind of thing.
Don't, then let's make the city more affordable. Let's make the country more affordable. And the way we do that, let's focus on housing. Let's focus on groceries. Let's focus on childcare.
So tax the rich. She's not saying the words. What she means is just tax the rich.
Donald Trump
These are your
ran.
issues.
Donald,
These are national.
Oh, and she did it. She did it. It took her 4 minutes, but she did get finally to the orange man is bad. We knew she had to go there. That's kind of like that. You kind of have to. And she got there. It took her 4.5 minutes, but she got to Donald Trump, orange man bad. Okay, here goes orange man bad.
Trump
you deal with
ran
that.
for
That's not,
and New York should just say, all we want is the
mayor of New
billionaires
York
pay
should
whatever
focus
you
on
want to
delivering
pay.
All again, look at her. Look how dismissive she is. Look at that face. Look at that face, dismissive. So she went to orange man bad. He's like, nope, you can't do orange man bad. She got pissed off and went to straw man, which is immediately saying, oh, billionaires can pay whatever they want. Nobody's ever said billionaires can pay whatever they want. Never been said one time, never been brought up ever. She brings it up. Of course, it's on the straw man argument.
most services to the citizens of
He
the
should
city and
focus-
make it a point of
I'm
improving
sorry,
life for
your
them.
fellow New Yorkers have said he should focus on affordability. This is why they have voted for Mamdani, and that's why.
There, she's not wrong. I give Mamdani credit. I do. Mamdani's campaign was an amazing campaign. It was. You can be mad at Mamdani, not like him. It was a good campaign, and still is a good campaign. It's a good campaign, focusing on the things that he heard, what people said, and he did give them answers. Again, I'm not happy with his answers, but I absolutely saw that, absolutely gave him the answers. It was a good campaign, absolutely good campaign. So yes.
Today, I will be here to talk about his plans on childcare, why people are talking about his plans. He's going to experiment to try to bring down grocery costs in food deserts. God bless him on that. He's going to try something. When is the last time you saw America? I'm going to try something.
You think
for
somebody has
families, and
absolutely
he's
no
gonna
She's not wrong here, right? This part, she's right. Absolutely true.
experience? 33-year-old socialist is going to succeed as the mayor of New York?
Yes, I
With
do.
no real
I
experience
think he's
whatsoever
going
in
to
city
do a
government?
lot more.
Okay, to be forward, she doesn't think that. She doesn't think that. What she thinks is, I'm going to back this guy, and whether he wins or loses, I'm going to get my socialist street cred, which I've lost because I've been a sellout for the last couple of years. I've been selling everybody out and not been that. So now I'm going to get my street cred back by doing this. Why? Because she saw it work with AOC. That's why. That's the reason why she's doing this. She's like, I'll do this, and then I'll raise $6 million like AOC will. You won't. It's not going to work like AOC. AOC, first off, got Bernie and has more charisma than her. So, yeah.
For working families than someone like Cuomo, who says, how many billions of dollars can we get into my campaign so that.
Okay, he has not raised billions. Again, she made this up. He raised 24 million. Still a lot of money. But she has to say billions. She can't say millions. Why? Because she works in millions, right? So if she says millions, well, then she's a hypocrite. So you got to say billions. So all of a sudden it's billions. Never happened. Cuomo, as much as I dislike this man, you don't hear me lie about him. You don't hear me lie about him. He's not raising billions. That's not a thing. She made that up. She has made up at least half of the shit she said or just reported the news.
I can try to beat this guy back. Look, this is democracy at work. People want to see someone who's on their side, and that is Zohran Mamdani.
You've mentioned housing as an element of the affordability issue a couple of times. It's one of the areas of agreement among almost everybody that we have to find a way to get housing supply up.
That's true.
Practically speaking, how do we have that happen in New York and everywhere?
I'm glad you asked that, because just this week, the United States Senate unanimously passed a housing bill that Chairman Tim Scott and I put together with help from every single member of the committee, both Republicans and Democrats.
So we're going to solve the problem then, because she says it's bipartisan and we all signed it. So since we signed this piece of paper, Now it's also, okay, well, look, housing solved. We can stop this whole thing with Mamdani then, right? You guys should feel good. You feel good, John? She solved housing. A whole bunch of people in Washington, I think, signed a piece of paper or something. So they're done. Done and done. All righty, we are good. We are good.
And the answer is supply. We need more housing supply.
No, whoa. I thought you said tax the billionaires. What? Didn't she just spend the entire time talking about taxing billionaires? And they're not going to leave, whatever. It's funny how when they say, and I brought this up last night, if you remember, this is the way. Why? X is because of Y. Great. How do we solve Y? This one, X is because of Y. So let's solve Z. Now, she's actually right. This is the problem. But when asked, she didn't say that. When asked how to solve X, she said Y. Now they're saying, so how do you solve X? Z. But you said it was Y. But Z.
And the role of the federal government, basically, has been we'll do the finance end of it somewhat. We do a little bit on public housing and basically to stay out. While for 40 years, year over year over year, the price of housing keeps going up.
Yep.
This bill is a real sea change because it diagnoses the problem
correctly.
It all. It says we just don't have enough housing. Housing anywhere in America. And that's true, urban, rural. It's true.
It's not true in Houston.
It's true about rental housing. It's true about housing for first-time home buyers.
It's no longer true in Florida.
It's true about housing for seniors, housing for people with disabilities, housing for people who have no housing at all. So what this bill does is it moves forward on a lot of different fronts at once.
Okay.
It has a lot of pieces in it to make it less expensive to build, more modular housing, for example.
Why in the world would all of a sudden you decide that we're going to pass a federal bill to deal with modular housing? Isn't that local? Isn't that local? You know what you could do? I'm going to say this. Here's what you could do. You could pass a bill if you wanted to. Hear me out here, Senator, before you go nuts. Just hear me out. You could pass a bill that would literally say no state may ever do rent control because it's unconstitutional, because it takes away someone's right to either life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness. You can't do that. That's someone's personal property. You can't decide what they pay for it. You can't just decide to price fix. That's against the goddamn law. It's against the Constitution. It's un-American. Do that. Just do that. This way, every single person who builds a house, when the stupid states go, we're going to change this and make they can sue, and the federal judge can say, no, you can't. You can't do rent control. Well, Larry, if we don't have rent control, how can there be more housing? Well, look at Argentina. Literally, Milei says no more rent control. Just says no. Says you may not do it. Within 1 year, rents go down 30%. Within 1 year, rents drop 30%. He didn't have to pass some big, beautiful bill. He didn't have to go down this road. He didn't have to tax his billionaires. None of that shit. He just said, rent control? No, it's someone's private property. Government is not going to get to say this. It just doesn't. So no, do what you want with your own property. Just do what you want with your own property. And what did people do? They built more properties. And then what happened? There was more housing. And then what happened? Prices went down by 30%. 30% drop. It just happened in Argentina. Like I'm making this up. You could pass that law instead. No. We're going to pass a bipartisan, which will solve nothing.
More pre-approved plan book housing. So you don't
see, because they know what's better with pre-approved plan book housing. That's your problem, Mike. You didn't realize you needed to have more pre-approved thing. You didn't know that. See? Get with the program, Mike. You're behind the time.
You have to spend time getting plans approved. It also has my innovation fund in it to say if you're one of those cities that's actually trying to build more housing, federal government will be a good partner to you. We'll help put some money on the table.
Look at that, because you know what the federal government doesn't have enough of? Debt. Not enough. So instead of just going, do what you want, and the pricing will go down, which again just happened. You could do that. Oh, no. We're going to go into more debt, and we're going to write you more checks. Done and done.
For
Problem
the new
solved.
elementary school or for the new sewer connections.
Elementary school sewer connection. What? What? I don't. Oh, it's union jobs. Okay, this
You're
is
going
okay.
to
Union
need-
job. Okay.
But the whole notion is push toward more supply, which will help bring down prices.
But you just told me just a minute ago, the problem is these damn billionaires. But then when the actual problem came to get solved, you didn't mention them, did you? Yeah, you didn't mention them. Look at smiling.
I'll tell you
Look how
one thing
smiling.
that'll bring down prices in New York, but he won't ever do it, which is just deregulating everything. We have
Done.
a lot of apartments that are under rent
Done.
stabilization and rent control.
Look how smug. She was all smug. See, I had an actual plan and I'm smart. And everybody's like, no, that's stupid. No.
But that's a third rail. I mean, I've lived here my whole life, so, you know, I do have a sense for how things work here.
One of the things that Zohran is talking about is how to increase housing supply here in New York City, bring in more new housing. And that is one of the ways that you give young people an opportunity to have their own place. You know, I just do one little stat in this area. Back in the 1980s, 1990s, first-time home buyer was 28 years old.
Yep.
Today, they're 38 years old.
Yep.
And an increasing number of young people are just saying, I will never get a house.
Yes, and that's your fault. So I wanted to show you that because you might think, well, wow, she's done very good, right? Look how good she's done. You should be happy about that, Larry. We'll see. I'm gonna have a couple comments if I can. Markel says the 1% are draining on everything around them. Let them go. They aren't a part of the culture and shouldn't get credit for interest they segregated themselves from. That's not true. And let me explain why it's not true. As they leave, the tax base leaves. The problem is, as the tax base leaves, what do the people who are remaining do? They don't change, Markel. If the government would change, you would be correct. It doesn't. It just finds new ways of getting that money back. How do I know? It's called Detroit. That's what actually happens every time. And eventually it goes bankrupt, right? So what winds up happening is when those people leave, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that the top 1% of New York City residents pay 50% of all taxes. I think that's correct. It's in that area, if not exactly that. It's in that area. So when they begin to leave, what happens to the tax base? Well, you would think that, well, wait a minute, if they leave, then they're not using the taxes because they're using all the taxes. They're not. Most of the stuff that's being paid for taxes is not being used by them. It's being used by the average New Yorker. So now what do? You find another way of doing it. Well, they can't just keep raising taxes. What do? They'll raise fines and fees. That's what will happen. They'll start saying it's against the law to have your name start with an M, and you got to pay the M first name fee every year. They'll do stuff like that. That's what will actually happen, right? How do I know that? That's what always happens. If the government were to change, you would be correct. It will not. It doesn't. That's the problem. So whether we like it or not, we've set up a system we've set up a system for which case we need them. That's the issue. So yes. All righty. Dave says, why isn't Senator Warren trying to help Boston, a city in Massachusetts? Well, of course not. Why? Because that's not going to work. Why would you do that? That'd be kind of silly. So yeah. All right. So talking about Mamdani, you might say, well, wait a minute, Mamdani, do we have any way of talking about Mamdani? We do. And there is one place where you can get a bunch of stuff on Mamdani, and you're probably wondering where. You know where it is. It's Civil. Of course it is. Every single time I do a show, I show you something cool on Civil that's doing something that's either topical or interesting. And of course, boom, it's the guy from Dad Saves America. He actually was talking about this literally just last month. Just 2 weeks ago, he was doing a show on this on Marxists Take Manhattan. That's like the Muppets. That's the joke. You get the joke? That's it.
We have to continue to elect more socialists, and we have to ensure that we are unapologetic about our socialism.
Which is...
Now, he's actually right. I hate that he's right, but Mamdani is right. And I told you guys this last year. I said, if Democrats actually want to be able to beat Trump or beat Trumpism or beat the MAGA people, the only way Democrats can do it, the only way is to go economically left. Now, again, I'm not economically left, but I'm still a political consultant, and I'm telling them what will work. Americans are okay going economically left, even though I'm not. Americans are. And him winning this primary is an example of that. Go economically left, Americans will listen. Why? Because Americans want an answer. Republicans don't have an answer for that economically. They don't. Democrats don't either. And what Republicans attack Democrats on the woke stuff, on the woke stuff. So if the Republicans attack Democrats on the woke stuff, which still works, which is funny because Democrats hardly ever talk about woke stuff anymore, but doesn't matter. Republicans do all the time, and it works because, again, the woke stuff has been stuck to Democrats for the last, 10 years or so, whatever that number is, and it's still stuck on them even though they haven't been talking about it much. Doesn't matter. It's stuck on them now. Well, what are you going to do? Do what Zohran does. Forget about the woke and don't talk about it at all, and talk about economic leftism. The problem is most Democrats who are now walking away from the woke stuff, and they've been walking away for a while, they don't have anything to say. So the woke stuff sticks to them even though they're not talking about it. He goes economically left, and Americans go, I'm in. Why? Because he has an answer. Remember, a bad answer is better than no answer.
To say, steal the stuff you want to control from the people who built it.
Yes, and Americans are like, that sounds great. Now, why would Americans say that sounds great? If you're a libertarian, that sounds horrible to you. Yeah. But if you're not libertarian, particularly if you're someone under 30, millennial or under 30, millennial Gen Z, you feel like you've been robbed. Hear me out, those libertarians who just want to yell at me now. Hear me out. Let's say you graduated around 2008, somewhere in that area, right? You graduated in that area, 2008. What was there for you? Nothing. You were told, go to school, go to college, whatever, do stuff. None's there. What if you graduate? You graduate high school or college there? Nothing. Nothing's there for you. Okay. What if you graduate high school or college 2019, right before the lockdowns? What's there for you? Nothing. You got trashed because of the lockdowns. You got hammered both times. You got tons of debt. You can't own a house. You can't get anything. But you were told by your counselor, by your teacher, by your mom, by your uncle, by your grandma, by your grandpa. You were told, do the right thing, pass these dumb tests that mean nothing, get these pieces of paper that mean shit, go to school and learn stuff that means nothing. Do that, and there'll be an awesome job waiting for you. And you watch Sex and the City and the Gossip Girl, and you thought, there's going to be hot guys waiting for me if I'm a guy, hot girls waiting for me hot guys wait. There's going to be a hot spouse waiting for you, whatever your preference is. The hot person will be waiting for you. Yeah, there's no hot person waiting for you and no job waiting for you. That's not how that works. You were lied to. And they feel, well, I was cheated. You stole my futures. How they feel. Again, you might disagree. That's how they feel. So do they think it's bad to steal back? No. To them, it seems like restorative justice. That's how they see it. I get you disagree. That's how they see it. That's how they can validate it. You go, they're just lazy. No, that's not. I mean, some of them are lazy, but that is the issue. The issue is they see it as restorative justice. That's how they see it. And we have to understand that, or we can't communicate with them.
Hey there, friends, fans, and foes of Dad Saves America. John Popola here. And I thought I would take this Friday to talk about New York City, my former home. And
yes, I actually saw him. We chatted for a bit at the Ron Paul 90th birthday party. He was there too. We chatted for a bit. So yeah, look, he's savvy. He's smart. This is stuff you get on Civil. This is why I talk about Civil all the time. Head on over to Civil, CIVL.com. And when you sign up, upper right-hand corner is a little bit of a green thing. You're going to click that little green shady thing and put in the name Larry. Larry is the code. Get you 50% off for the entire year. $25 for the whole year. It's a steal. See that? You're stealing now. Why are you stealing? You're stealing now by that insanely good price. You are now the thief. Go do that. Check it out. And here's the best part. You also get my Wednesday show, which is tomorrow, 7 p.m. is only on Civil, right? It's only on Civil. Pop on in. Enjoy. Please do so if you can. Helps us out. I'm on Civil. I'm partnering with them. You see me there all the time. I'm on Civil right now. If you want to watch me, literally right now. If you want to watch, you can watch me right now. And of course, you can watch Dad Saves America. And you can watch these cool things we're talking about that are always going to be topical. And that's what's critical. Topical and real conversations. So hope that was interesting for you. All righty. John said, it's a fact. It's facts. The wealthy leave New York City. The tax burden is great enough. Yes. Absolutely true. Mike Voss in the house. Those issue Warren sites all came from Democratic control of New York State. True. Their policies hurt Americans, and she wants more votes to double down. True. No other party is responsible for the problems in New York. True. That New York State has been a democratically run state for decades now. So bad that no Republican has won a statewide election in New York State, not governor, not senator, not AG, nothing, in 23 years. Nothing. An entire generation. No Republican winning anything statewide. Nothing. That's what it is right now. So if you're unhappy with New York, there is only one party to complain to. Mike is correct. Yes, that is absolutely accurate. Sad for some people, but absolutely accurate. So yes. All righty. Let me go down here if I can. All right. Markel says, Larry, that is wrong. I'm not sure which piece is wrong. Hold on. Did you say something else here? What am I wrong on? I'm wrong on. If you guys think I'm wrong, you got to tell me. You got to tell me what I'm wrong on. You don't want to remember. I'm reading your chats later on, often sometimes. So using pronouns, I won't know what you're talking about. So you got to say, Larry, you're wrong on this. You got to say why I'm wrong on whatever I'm wrong on. It's important. So, all right. Straight N is over on Rumble. He says, I graduated in 1981. Billy Joel's song Allentown hit home for me then. Yep. Yes, I live near there. The song should be redone by someone. Yes, for those of you who don't know, that song, Allentown, thank you for the $2 probably straight down, was talking about, a change in America. That's what it really was about, right? People coming home from the war, what was happening there, how things began to change. Yeah, and it was true then, and it's true now. Yes, I graduated in the 80s too. I remember the song very well. You are correct, my friend. You are absolutely correct. All right, let me grab a couple more of this if I can. All righty. Markel says, trillion of people over the hundreds of years of American history. I don't think there was a trillion people over. Yeah, there wasn't a trillion people. Most didn't live long enough to improve their environments, opportunities, representation. Okay. There weren't trillions of people. I'm not sure where you got. Maybe you're exaggerating on purpose, but that wasn't there. And not just that. The reason why the average lifespan was shorter wasn't because people lived so short lifespans. It was that many people didn't get out of infancy. They died in infancy, either childbirth or in the first couple years of life. So the average came down. But if you survive like the first 5 years of life, you actually lived a decent amount of years in America. You decent amount. So yeah, I think that's true. So, all righty. Jan T reposted the stream. Thank you, guys. If you can repost this, please do so. If you can share this, share it, repost it, repost it. It does matter. If you haven't clicked the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo, you hate homes. Don't hate homes. Don't hate homes. Instead, click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. Please do so. Remember, I'm also on Spotify. If you are on Spotify listening, something you got to do. You have to click when you're on Spotify. You've got to give me a 5-star rating. Why? Because I'm worth 5 stars. Give me the 5-star rating and then share it from Spotify too. Also good. Also helps tremendously. So you got to give them that because I yap all the time, which makes me worth it. I think I've kind of just made that up. That's fine. All right. Let me. What I do want to grab. There's so many comments. I do want to hold on. I do want to show you this. This is from the Humanist Report. This guy, Michael, I think is Figueroa, if I remember right. He is what I would call a leftist, not a Democrat, right? And some people don't know the difference between the two. A leftist is someone who is so far left that Democrats are just establishment to them. And he is one of those, and proud. Like, I'm not insulting him when I say that. If I don't know him personally, I don't know this guy personally, but if I were to talk to him and say this, he would not say I'm wrong. He would go, yes, that is correct. I am that. He would agree with what I just said.
Is New York's best choice for mayor.
Mamdani, are you going to support him?
I have learned a long time ago. Let New York politics be New York politics. We got enough challenges in Jersey. I got a governor's race. I'm supporting Mikey Sherrill. I got legislative races. That's where my energy is going to go going into November. New York City, I love you. You're my neighbor. You're about 10 miles from where I live. You guys figure out your elections. I'm going to focus on mine.
Yeah, Mike Figueroa. Sorry.
You just heard from 2 Senate Democrats who likely plan to run for president in 2028.
So he immediately assaults them, right? Because he does not like Democrats. He thinks they don't go far enough left at all. And this is what I meant when I say the difference between a Democrat and someone who's a leftist. He's an example of that. And he will explain why he is not happy with what any of them did.
And even though that election is years away and we still don't know if we'll have free and fair elections by then, we're already kind of starting.
So again, a minute in, we don't know if we'll have free and fair elections. Why? Because Trump. So he has to immediately dismiss. What you will find in most of these, again, as I always tell you, Democrats dismiss, Republicans distract. I should say the left. The left dismisses, the right distracts. So he immediately goes to dismissing. See, we're not going to have it anyway because Orange Man is bad. Orange Man bad works every time. If you're either Democrat or left-leaning, Orange Man bad works. So he goes right to Orange Man bad.
Starting to see this shadow primary take place. And Zohran Mamdani's win in New York has forced some of the party's presidential hopefuls to show their cards a little bit early, and they're not very happy about that. Now, the way that he's basically forcing them to show their cards is by seeing whether or not they're going to endorse him, because that has implications for their position on Israel. So if they support Mamdani, they could alienate powerful pro-Israel donors like AIPAC. But if they...
Now, that's a big deal. The AIPAC side of the equation is huge for the left. They are very much anti-AIPAC, as am I, by the way, just to be clear. I'm on that side. I'm with them. AIPAC should be a foreign foreign lobbying group. There's no doubt they should be. It's bogus. They're not. They should. AIPAC has every right to exist. It should exist. I don't have a problem with them existing, but they are a foreign political action committee and should be registered as a foreign lobbyist group. Then I'm okay. They got to be labeled that, and they're not. So it's BS. But anyway, he hates them.
They don't endorse Mamdani, then they're definitely going to alienate the base who they need to win if they plan to run for president in 2028.
So he immediately says, all these people talking anything, they're all just scumbags trying to gain power. I mean, he's not wrong.
A lot of them are trying to just avoid the topic like the plague. Not all of them are able to do that, though, because they're asked about it, as Cory Booker was. But with regard to Elizabeth Warren, you can see that she's really leaning into Mamdani, because for her, I think that she views this as her chance at redemption, because in the last two presidential...
See, redemption. So some of you might have been listening to Warren and been like, whoa, the leftists must love Warren. She's now supporting Mamdani. She's one of them. That's amazing. No. As I've told you, some of you don't know this. AOC sold out. The left hasn't forgotten this, and they're still mad at her. She has to somehow redeem herself in the left's eyes. And I know some of you who look at the Democrats and the left as all the same. It's not. Just like Republicans are different too, so are Democrats. They're different. They're not all the monolith. And of course, if you're a hardcore Republican, you're like, the Dems are all, blah, blah, blah. Of course. And if you're hardcore Dem, the Republicans are all MAGA. They're all, that's not, neither of those things are true. And this is an example of what I've been talking about. Rick, wonderful. He goes, for socialism to succeed, it's necessary that people don't know what socialism is. True. They have to believe it's something else. Yes. All righty. Phil says, I think Elizabeth Warren is proving Adam Carolla's point about how a 6-year-old woman who's the same thing as AOC wouldn't get the same attention as a hot, young 30-something Latina. I hate that you may be right. That you're probably right. You guys know, it is very rare that I ever bring up a woman's looks unless I'm also bringing up a man's looks, right? I will fairly attack or somehow praise looks of a woman if I'm also doing it for the male. And you might go, Larry, is that like kind of wokeist? Maybe it is. I don't care. And why I said, because for so long, women have been prejudged based upon their looks when men have not been when it comes to beauty. It's unfair. Now, if I'm going to date somebody for some reason, whatever, your personal reason, rate them any way you want. I don't care. You can say someone's good looking, bad looking, too small, too big, too tall, too short, whatever. That's totally fine. But when it comes to politicians, we should not be judging particularly our women on their looks. We should judge them on their policies, their issues, their charisma in general, right? Charisma in general is fair. That is a fair, because you can have charisma as a woman or a male. That isn't an issue, but it isn't fair as women. So I don't like the fact you may be right. And I'll say it, and I'll do as I always do. AOC is a good-looking woman. There is no doubt she is. If you think she's not, that's because you don't like AOC and that clouds your vision. Good looking woman. Just as I would always say the same thing about Gavin Newsom. He's a good looking man. I know that. I know lots of women who fawn over him. Justin Trudeau, good looking man. You can say he's not ugly. If you say that's because you don't like him, he's a bad person. That's true. But he's still a good looking man. Just how it works. So you may be right. So I hope I was fair on that.
Primaries, she turned off a lot of progressive voters by fence sitting for too long. In 2016, she waited until after the primary was over to endorse Hillary Clinton, even though we all knew that she was more ideologically aligned with Bernie Sanders. Now in 2020, she refused to endorse him again, even after she heard.
Now, this guy's a young guy. He's not like 50, 60, 70. He's not that. He's 30 maybe. That's about it. And he's like, back in 2016, back in 20, like he remembers and he's pissed. There were a lot of people who watch this guy. He's just like nobody. He's a guy that a lot of lefties watch. A lot of lefties watch this guy. And when he says that, they're like, yeah, that actually, yes, this actually works.
Herself had no chance of winning. Bernie Sanders was the best chance at progressive stopping Biden at Super Tuesday, or on Super Tuesday, I should say. And after all the centrist Democrats coalesced around Biden, Elizabeth Warren chose to stay in the race, split the votes with Bernie Sanders and her, and ended up coming in third in her own state. So in my view, I think that her endorsement of Mamdani feels like an attempt for her to right that wrong. And she's broadcasting her intent to occupy the left-wing lane of the 2028 primary with this endorsement. I think.
Now, this is the part where he's just dissing her. He's like, she doesn't really care. She's going to make things right, but not to make things right. So she has a chance at winning the primary. Now, if he actually cared about her, he would say, yeah, she's going to make things right, and maybe I will accept her. I accept her apology or whatever. He clearly does not. And if he doesn't, that means lots and lots of Democrats don't either. He's not alone. Whatever he thinks, lots of Democrats, particularly left-leaning Democrats, leftists, feel the same way as him. Markel says, Larry should have better than that. Guy, you have to tell me what you're talking about. I'm happy to have this conversation, but you have to tell me what you're talking about. You can't just, I'm happy to have it, but tell me what you're talking about. So yes, Dave goes, you get an apartment, you get an apartment, you get an apartment. We all get apartments. I love that. But we can if we just cut regulation. Yes, Phil says it. How about lowering regulation? Yes. Mike says it. New York City has many empty buildings, and we use a ton of resources for illegal aliens that are public. Supply is not the issue. Okay. I got to make sure we're clear on what you're saying. Supply is an issue because of the laws and the rules. So supply is an issue in the current legal environment, in the current regulatory environment. But overall, you are correct. We have tons of buildings that we could turn into housing. I mean, millions of square feet. Michael's correct. But with the current way of doing it, you can't. So yes. All righty. Josh is not true. In Georgia, subdivision of the subdivision being built in Georgia. I know. Yes. Yes. Dave says, we don't have enough housing because blue cities don't want new housing in their cities. True. Yes. 100%. John goes, rent control never worked, never will. True. Also true. Absolutely. Yep. Rick says, people don't respect property that isn't theirs. Often true. Not 100%, but yeah. Statistically, yes. Statistically, yes. But there are some renters who are good. And when they find good, how do I know? Because when you find good renters, you keep them. You keep them. Yes. John says, people like Warren think renters is a check landlords cash keep in their pockets. They have no concept on how property is managed. Yes. Or how mortgages are paid. It's not like if you're a massive, developer in New York and you have 1,000, 2,000, 4,000 units, yeah, you put a lot of money in your pocket. True. But what if you have like 3 units in the building that your family bought? 6 units in the building that your family bought? You're probably still paying a mortgage on that. You're right. You're probably still paying a mortgage on that. Absolutely. I completely agree. Yes. All righty. Patty says, use the Carter's model and do Habitat for Humanity and use sweat equity and own it at the end. Love that idea. Love that idea. Yes, absolutely. Rick says, New York City is Universe 25, aka Mouse Utopia. Thank you for that, Rick. For those who don't know what Mouse Utopia is, when you have a moment, Google Mouse Utopia. This is a true story. And it's a bunch of shows. The last guy I saw that was a guy called, oh Jesus, What If Alt Hist? That's the YouTube channel. He did one on Mouse Utopia. Many people have. It's a but his is what I remember most recently. But it's been done before. It was a experiment where they basically made a world to where it was the perfect world for mice, and like it was plenty of space, plenty of food, no predators. It was a utopia for mice, for mice, and they did not thrive. And they became terrible in every way, shape, and form. They stopped populating. They stopped hating each other. They became self-destructive. And these are mice. I'm not making this up. When you have a minute, it's worth watching. There's many videos on it. Just Google Mouse Utopia. The last one I remember was one by What If Alt Hist, but pick whichever one you want. Yeah, totally correct, Rick. And that's what they're trying to achieve. So there is no utopia. That's the issue. So yeah. All right. Let me go down a bit further for this one.
She's trying to build a relationship with Mamdani so she can get his endorsement later on. But when it comes to Cory Booker, as you saw, he would not touch that race with a 10-foot pole like the coward that he is, even though, as people have pointed out, he's previously expressed support for the vote blue no matter who philosophy. But unfortunately for him, he is one of the most beholden Democrats to AIPAC. He was one of 16 Senate Democrats.
This is a thing. Some of you may not know this. The left wing of the Democratic Party, not the establishment, the left wing hates AIPAC. And I mean hates. They literally, like they list who gets AIPAC money. They are not happy with AIPAC at all. They do not like that at all. Not at all. Some of you know that who pay attention, like Mike Voss, he's in this. He knew that. But some of you may not know that. So yes, some of you may not know that. Ryan says, Elizabeth Warren sounds like the Sharpe spoof show in episode 666. Only omission from her slang is all hail the empire. I didn't do a 666 show. Huh. Okay. Rick says, Lizzie's all about obedience. True. Absolutely true. Yes. 100% true. Yes. So yeah, that's what really matters for her. Absolutely. All righty. Markel says, Larry Sharpe, how is supporting economics monopoly going to help people like me? Oh, okay. You think I'm not sure how you think we're supporting economic monopoly. What I'm saying is the answer isn't just tax the rich. That's what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is if you end, and we already have evidence of this, like I'm not making this up. There's evidence of this. It just happened. It's happening right now in our own country in Houston. And it happened already in Argentina. If you remove the barriers to entry, the wealthy will still buy property. Of course, they're going to still do it. But the difference is now average people can also buy property. That's the difference, right? Heavy regulation doesn't stop the wealthy from buying property. In fact, it increases them. We have more regulation on buying property now than we ever had. And we have more large organizations and hedge funds buying property than ever. So you can see it. As you increase regulation, the average person does not grow. So how does it when you don't have that? Well, guys like you, Markel, I don't know who guys like you are, but I'm assuming you mean someone who's not wealthy. That's my assumption in what you're saying. I don't know if you're wealthy or not, but that's my assumption because of what you wrote. So if by going by what you wrote, if you are not wealthy, here's how it helps you. Number one, you see it in Argentina. The pricing goes down by 30%. You see it in Houston. There's not really a housing or a homelessness problem compared to New York City. In Houston, they still have homeless people, but compared to New York City, there's not a homelessness problem. And again, Houston is a huge city, top 5, I think 4 or 3. It's top 5 cities, so it's not a small town. It's a massive city. So you would have less homelessness in your town or city. That's one. You would have 30% lower rents. That's 2. You would now be able, if you wanted to get together with your friends or family, make an LLC and purchase either an investment property, either one unit or an entire building. That's how it would help you. And that's not monopoly. That's the opposite. Heavy regulation is what creates monopolies because it creates a barrier to entry. I hope that makes sense at least. And again, I'm not making it up. You can see it happening now. The theory of more regulation stopping monopoly, there's no example of that anywhere. That's not a thing. And we have examples of the opposite happening. I hope at least that makes sense at least. So yeah, there we go. Josh is a graduate of high school in 2013. Josh, you got hammered too, brother. Not as bad. Not as bad. You had a small shot to do something before the lockdowns came. So yeah. All righty. Let me keep going down here if I can. I will grab some more in a second.
To vote against blocking arms sales to Israel. And we all know it's because he is completely bought and paid for by the Israel lobby. And Crystal Ball shared this headline from The Intercept, where he bragged about texting back and forth with the president of AIPAC like teenagers.
That right there, what you just saw, that destroyed Cory Booker with the far left. Ripped him to pieces. That when Crystal Ball said that, done deal.
So if you expect to maintain that relationship with AIPAC and other pro-Israel donors, you simply cannot endorse a candidate like Mamdani, who's explicitly critical of Israel's genocide, especially after he said he'd arrest Netanyahu if he came to New York.
Yes, you can't get behind that guy. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Now, so what's the smart thing to do? Here's the smart thing to do. Do what guys like Thomas Massie and recently AOC has done, which is go out and get your own money so you don't need AIPAC. Thomas Massie has his own money. He went out and has a bunch of people from all across the country who give him money. He doesn't need AIPAC. He doesn't care what AIPAC thinks. He doesn't care. If he wants to support Israel, he will. If he doesn't, he won't. Doesn't matter. AIPAC doesn't affect him. AOC used to care. She went out with Bernie, put $6 million in her pocket. Now she don't care. So the answer is don't be beholden to these people. In this case, he's actually correct. That's what you should do. But they're not doing that. So yeah. All righty. Let me keep going down here. Mike says, justice is not restorative. That's progressive word salad of indoctrination. No, I'll go no but to both of those. You're right. It isn't, but it should be. The fact that justice is not restorative is what makes our justice system shit. That's what makes it shit. Let me explain what I mean by that. We don't have a justice system because justice should be restorative. Justice is not. It's just punishment. And we go, justice was served because we punished some guy. All right, so Ryan's a bad guy. He comes in and he robs my house. And he takes $2,000 worth of all my goods. And he goes off and goes on a bender and gets all drunk and high on all my stuff. The cops catch him. Go, we got Ryan. Great. Do I get my money back? No, he spent it on booze and stuff. Oh, okay. What are we going to do? We're going to put him in jail. Oh, okay. He's not pleading, so we're going to go to trial. Oh, that's going to be expensive. Yeah, and your tax is going to pay for that. Then we're going to put him in jail for 3 years. Oh, tax is going to pay for that too. So my taxes pay for his trial, and my taxes pay for him to be in jail for 3 years because I got to pay for him to eat and be kept for 3 years. Then he gets out. Okay, he's out now. So now here I am. I lost my $2,000. I might have got some of it if I have some insurance. If I don't, I just lost it. I got to pay for his taxes no matter what. And then if I get insurance, now my insurance rates go up. So I got robbed 3 times. What did he get? Well, now he's gone away for 3 years. He's now a better criminal because our system that he goes to isn't restorative. It doesn't try to fix him. It just punishes him. So now he gets out. He now is a felon. He's been 3 years in jail. He's out of the system and he can't get a job. So what's he going to do? It's going to go on public assistance, which now I'm paying for again. I got robbed 4 times. And you think that's a good idea? No, that's our system. And if I go to someone, go, justice was served. Justice wasn't served. Everybody was punished. Justice should be restorative. What does that mean? Well, I don't want Ryan when he comes out of jail not being able to get a job. I want him to get a job so he can pay me my $2,000 back that he stole. That would be restorative, wouldn't it? I want him to be in jail. If I'm paying for this as a taxpayer, well, then I want to train him in something. Well, why aren't you getting training for free? Because when he comes out, he'll get a job and pay taxes and pay back the money he took for 3 years of us giving him food and keeping him in prison. That's restorative. That's what justice should be. So you are correct, Mike. It's not, and that's stupid. It should be restorative. But we in America don't care about that. In America, punishment. Justice served because we punished him. And we all, this is literally what Gandhi said. An eye for an eye, and we all go blind. Our system is garbage. It's garbage because it's not restorative. You are correct. It's not restorative, and it should be. It's not progressive word salad. It's the way the world should be. And maybe the progressives are right in this one. Oh, that just triggered Mike. I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't trigger you. I triggered you. But they're right on this. Justice should be restorative. It's not. It absolutely should be. The people who screw up society should pay back society. They can't do that when we stop them. And what happens? I pay more. So I got robbed 3 times, 4 times now. All bad. And what's worse, what if Ryan's got a kid? So Ryan's got a kid. So he went to jail. Ryan's got a kid. Ryan can't pay for his kid. He went to jail for 3 years. Now he's a felon. He can't pay child support. He can't pay. So what's got with baby mama and kid? They're going on public assistance. Who's paying for that? Me. I got robbed 5 times. That's justice, though, in America. I got robbed 5 times. That's justice. Because justice is not restorative. It should be. It should be. I would like him to be able to get a job, pay back everything, and also something else. Pay for his own kid and maybe be in his kid's life so his kid won't follow the same thing and copy the same thing again and again and again, and now it's generational. It absolutely should be. Patty says, many under 30 do not see a future. All they see is death and destruction. True. Yes. Andrew says, 2 socialists. What could go wrong? You're right. What could go wrong? Yes. Absolutely what can go wrong. Absolutely. So, all righty. Kim says, I'm actively soliciting members. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Thank you. All righty. Went down there. Okay. Reliability says, if you don't share this, you obviously want rent control. True. Absolutely true. Yes. Absolutely true. Yep. All right. Let me go a little bit further on this if we could.
But the problem for genocide supporting Democrats like Cory Booker is that they really relied on these smears against candidates like Mamdani of being anti-Semitic. But now those smears simply don't work. In fact, Mamdani actually has a substantial lead with.
That's true. And I'm actually happy about that. That part's good. You should be able to be against the policies of Israel without being anti-Semitic. I mean, remember, there is anti-Semitism. Of course it exists. I never want to say it isn't. There's isms and phobias do exist. I don't want to say they don't. The problem is we call everybody an ist or a phobe anytime something happens. You can be against the activities or policies of Israel and not be anti-Semitic. And you can be against and be anti-Semitic. You can be both, right? But you can be either. And this part I like. I'm glad that's true.
Jewish voters in New York City. Furthermore, a Data for Progress poll shows that his support for Palestinian human rights actually helped him in his campaign, with 62% of voters saying that it swayed their vote. And his stance on Israel had popular.
So why did I show all these things to you? Only for one important reason. Because I'm showing you that this right now, even though Warren is backing him, even though AOC is backing him, it doesn't mean that the left in the Democratic Party actually buy it. It doesn't. Not just that. Everyone else is fence sitting. Everyone else is fence sitting, right? Because the reality of it is there are other people who should be saying something and they're not. That's the weird part. They're not saying anything. They're saying Zippo, and they should be saying something, right? They should be saying something. But here's the issue. Why isn't Cuomo saying something? Well, Cuomo is, but Cuomo, hold on. I want to show you something else. This is something else I want to bring up real fast if I can. And you know what this is from? You're going to say, Larry, where could this be from? It's kind of obvious. From Civil. It's from Civil. Of course it is. Yes. This is another piece they talk about here. And this is even more recent than the last piece I showed you, because there's always recent stuff here. This is actually from the Reason Roundtable talking about Cuomo getting canceled.
Hello and welcome to the Reason Roundtable. This is the podcast of free minds, free markets, and free takes. I'm your host, Peter Suderman, and today I am joined by my illustrious colleagues, Catherine Mangue-Ward and Matt Welch, as well as very special guest, Kristen Soltis Anderson. Everybody say hello.
This is the kind of conversation that you're going to get on Civil. I keep saying it. It's like I'm a broken record, and I don't care if I am. You can't find this everywhere. You find it here. You can watch anytime you're saying, I want to put on a podcast while I go do something and learn something and understand how things work in detail and understand how Larry thinks and why he thinks what he does. I mean, I think I'm cooler than these guys. You know, that's true. However, doesn't mean you can't listen to them. Yes, you can still listen to them. You can. How do you do that? Civil.com, CIVL.com. When you go in and put your name, you can see a little shaded area up at right-hand corner. Click that little green shaded area. And when you put in the code, LARRY, my name, Larry, 50% off, $25 per year. you get this kind of conversation. And you might say, why do I care?
More open at a 35,000 foot level to big systemic change, even if what they're really just looking for is more stability and normalcy for their own day-to-day lives.
All right.
Bingo. She's actually telling you a lot of people aren't looking at the stuff that Larry Sharpe's saying. It's true. They're just like, hey, can I survive today? Can I just survive today? Can I have a bit more stability? Can I do that? That's what they're concerned about. She's absolutely correct. And you will find a lot of people thinking that way. You get that here on Civil. And of course, the best part about the show is, look, there's a lot of cool stuff on Civil. That's true. A lot of cool stuff. The coolest thing, though, is my show on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. So you should watch my show, which is on 7 p.m. on Wednesday, which is only on Civil. Yes, all cool things called We Fix It Wednesday. Come on Civil on Wednesday. Again, CIVL.com. And get rid of the conflict machine and have real conversations on how to upgrade civilization, on how to move us forward and talk about the ideas that really matter. The actual human respect that is going to get us moving forward in this nation and in the world. That's Civil, CIVL.com. All right, let me grab some more comments if I can. I got so many comments up here. I do appreciate it. So Josh says, if Republicans want to win in New York, they would campaign on eliminating taxes. They would, but they don't want to limit taxes. So yes, they instead, they run on Dems bad, more cops. I'm not joking. Watch anything from New York. All you hear is Dems bad, more cops. So you ever hear. Yes. So I wish it was. Yeah. All righty. Josh says AIPAC should register on the FARA as well as CARE. Yes. Accurate. Yes. Absolutely. All righty. Let me grab a couple of these here. I do appreciate this. Andrew says, here's how I pronounce Mamdani. My damn knee. That's cute. Robert says, tax wealth, not work. The British guy made a whole career for himself saying that. Yeah. And I get that concept. I do. And that might be more effective. Why? All right. I know libertarians, what? I'm just saying, I'm still telling you the truth, right? When you tax something, you tend to get less of it. Well, if you tax work, you get less work. If you tax wealth, you get less wealth. Well, Larry, why would I want less wealth? There is between wealth and money. Wealth is money that's kept. Robert is correct. If you tax wealth, it pushes people into spending. If they spend, the economy moves. So some of you may not like what I just said. It doesn't make Robert wrong. He's still correct. If you want people to stop keeping their money, tax it when it's in a bank or something. Tax it when it's in real estate. Tax it when it's in an asset, right? If you tax the assets, people will want to move their assets more. That's true. And moving assets does move the economy. Robert's not wrong here. And yes, that British guy, I know, Gary, he does say it. And look, I don't like him and what he said. I think he's full of shit most of the time. This is still better. If I have to pick my tax, I would like to pick none. But if I got to pick one, it's actually a better one. He's right, Robert. I know it sounds bad, libertarians, but it's still accurate. It's a least bad tax. So Phil says, is calling everyone anti-Semitic identity politics? 100% yes. Literally what it is. Yes. Is making everyone Islamophobe? Yes. Absolutely. 100%. Rhetoric, member for 5 months. Thank you, brother. If libertarians could find a way to show lefties that the less fortunate / disabled would be better cared for, we'd be golden. Or even more golden. Cute. I try to show that. It's very hard because people can't imagine. They can't imagine that without government, you could actually have your local community serve them better. And one of the reasons why is, as most communities have lost their way, Rhetoric, they've lost their way in being able to help each other. They don't have the institutional knowledge to do so. We have to build that up first. We build it up first, and then it can work. So, yeah, I do think that's an issue. I completely agree with you. So, all right, let me head back. There's a little bit more of this I do want to show you because he goes a little bit further and brings another piece that I think is kind of interesting.
Support across the board. 79% of New York City Democrats want to restrict weapons to Israel. 78% believe it's a genocide, and 63%.
I am surprised on how important in New York the Gaza thing is. I didn't think it would be that important. I thought it'd be important, but not as important as it
One
looks like
Netanyahu arrested. And these numbers aren't unique to New York City. The Democratic base has shifted substantially on this issue, especially young voters, which is why AIPAC Democrats like Cory Booker, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and others, they get so uncomfortable whenever Mamdani's name comes up, because they know that they are hemorrhaging support every time they're asked to endorse him, but they refuse to. Nonetheless, they can't endorse him because they're siding with their donors over voters, because they basically view Mamdani as an existential threat. And they're not necessarily wrong, but as journalist Ken Klippenstein pointed out, Hakeem Jeffries strongly believes that he can't become House Speaker if Mamdani wins his election.
See, that's what he cares about.
Now, maybe it's because it'll signal that his style of pro-genocide politics has lost public support. Maybe it's because pro-Israel.
Do you hear how he says, how he uses the words he uses? Just brilliant. This wordsmithing is amazing. It's pro-genocide politics. I mean, just come on. Some of you guys who are on the right, you get upset at me when I tell you how good Democratic rhetoric is. It is good. The left has better rhetoric. I mean, crappy policies, but their rhetoric is better. That's good rhetoric right there. It's pro-genocide politics. That's good stuff. You can be mad. It's still good.
Donors are threatening to withhold support from the party if leadership doesn't get this anti-Israel sentiment under control. I don't know. Either way, Mamdani's race is shaping up to be a proxy battle between the establishment and progressive wings of the Democratic Party.
That's accurate, and people don't want to pick sides. And I understand why, but it's a mistake. You got to pick a side. You got to pick a side. Yes, absolutely. Christine says, AOC is beautiful till she opens her mouth. Yep. Rick says, we shouldn't marginalize people otherwise. Because people did shit we don't like, it's so easy to become what we hate. True? Yes. True? Yes. Phil says, Tulsi has looks and substance. Tulsi's a good-looking woman, too. No doubt. I just saw her at the thing. Good-looking woman. Good-looking woman. Absolutely. 100% true. It's absolutely true. Doesn't mean that you should vote for her or not. But yeah, absolutely true. Yep. All righty. Patty says, I've told you before, I've sat in the back and voters care about family, clothes, pet, and hairstyle more than policy. Yeah. Yes. Chris says Newsom's a reptile. Yes, but people do, women particularly, do think he's good looking, though. Kim says Tulsi's beautiful. True. These are good looking women. It's true. All true. Yes. All true. So again, doesn't mean that you should vote for them or not. But yes, these are accurate statements. So, all righty. We'll grab a couple more if I can. All right. Andrew says, elected officials need to remind themselves that they work for the people, not the other way around. Yeah. They kind of don't sometimes, but yeah. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can walk down a couple of these roads. You have so many of these here. All right. Kitty says, the guy who does the TED Talk on Mouse Utopia. Yes, there are many of them, guys. If you look on the Mouse Utopia, you'll find many of them. They're very, there's many of them. Mouse Utopia is very interesting. Mouse Utopia is a story that shows you how bad government can be. It really does. Yes. All right. Markel says, if you want me to explain all my points in detail, then it's very simple, Larry Sharpe. You could pay me to do that. Until then, I reserve the right to the First Amendment because I need the money more than most, also including Native American populations. There have been trillions of people in this country. There have not been trillions of people in this country. That's not true. There's no evidence of that at all. That's not true. Not even including Native Americans. There were no trillions. It's not a thing. There have not been trillions of people in this country. But that's okay. I don't really care. And I don't, why would I pay you? Go do what I do. Go online, start your own show. Call it the Kia way. How about that? Call it the Kia way. Do your own show and explain your stuff, and maybe people will give you super chats and they'll pay you. Or you could get a sponsor and they'll pay you. Or you could just have a lot of people watch you because you're super cool. I hope you are. You have good things to say. Maybe people will watch you and you'll get tons of views, and then YouTube will pay you, or Rumble will pay you, whichever. You can find a way. I'm on board. In fact, I tell you, you start a show, I'll come on your show. I'm not just saying that, I will. I'll come on your show. I'll have you on my show. Oh, good. Let's do it. I'm in. And you're going to have to show me with the trillion thing. That's not true. It hasn't been trained. I don't think it's even been trained to humans in a planet, period. I don't think we hit a trillion. But anyway, enjoy. I'm happy to have you here. Happy to have you here. So, all righty. My VAs, thank you for the $5. Larry will be on Are You Smarter Than a Politician game show Friday, 8 p.m. True. Also, Sharpe Civilians Wednesday, no show Thursday, AMA Saturday. That's true. So I will tomorrow I will be on Are You Smarter Than, tomorrow I will be on Civil only, my Civil show Wednesday. There'll be no show Thursday. Friday there'll be no show, but I will be on Are You Smarter Than a Politician at 8 p.m. on Friday, and then we'll have an AMA Saturday at 7 p.m. So that will be our schedule for the rest of this week. So there we go. I hope you guys can make them all. I hope we can. So there we go. All righty. Let me keep going down here. Grab a couple of those. All right. Kitty says, the left simultaneously point out that rich people use tax loopholes and say increase the tax rate for the rich. Makes no sense. They're advocating for nothing. True. Yes. If you actually wanted a fair tax code, you would simplify the tax code, right? If you simplify the tax code, you'd have a fairer tax code by default. Yes. Robert says, how are we defining restorative justice? Isn't restorative justice to make someone whole to the best of one's ability? Yes, that's my point. That's how and I explained that. I don't know, maybe if it came on, if I explained it after you did this. Yes, you should try to make someone whole. That's what you should be doing, right? In the perfect world. It's not how it works now, Robert. I wish it did. I think it should be restorative. I think you agree with me on that one. I think it should be restorative. If we should be finding ways to make it restorative to the best of our ability. If I harm you in some way, I should be compelled by government to somehow try to make things whole. The problem is I'm only compelled if I go in a civil court. So wealthy people can sue you, and non-wealthy people often can't. But I should be compelled by government to try to make you better. That's what I should do. I agree with you. That's what should happen. So yes. Kitty says, I graduated in 2007. That was a real tough time. Becoming an adult right as the 08 recession hit. Exactly. Yes. Absolutely true. Yes. And that bothers me. It really is bothering. People feel like it's wrong. And I get it. Right? I get it. Look, even if I don't like it, I bring up empathy a lot. And the problem is most people confuse empathy with sympathy. That for me to understand someone, I have to feel sorry for them. I don't have to feel sorry for them. I might, and often I do, because I tend to have a lot of sympathy. But you don't have to. You can just try to understand what someone thinks. And if you get what they're thinking, you're able to respond effectively and able to find policies they can get behind. That's the issue. So, yes. All righty. Thank you for that. And Kitty goes on to say, thanks for saying, Larry, it drives me nuts how almost nobody left gets it right when it comes to justice system criticism. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Christine says, prison should be forced labor with the profits of the victims. That could work also. Could also work. Yes. Any of these things could work, right? Maybe it's not forced. Maybe it's optional. But maybe if you do it, if you actually restore, if you choose, maybe it's not, I don't like the force part. I'm a libertarian, Christine. But maybe you make it to where, okay, you got sentenced to 4 years. If you work the full 4 years and pay X dollars, whatever the number is to your victim, maybe there's some kind of mathematic, algorithm thing, you get a year off your sentence or something like that, because you are physically paying back in some ways the victims of your crimes. That would make total sense, right? So you do the X number of years, but it's reduced by how much you pay back to people. Are gonna go, well, wait a minute, Larry, that means rich people wouldn't go to jail. No, because you have a minimum amount of time you'd have to serve, whatever that time is, right? But from the maximum, it could be lowered by doing that. You might go, well, then rich get more. So what? It's restorative. If I've got to put you, this is the point. Is it punishment or restorative? In reality, it's punishment. So to be forward, Christine, let's say, for example, I'm a poor guy and I rob your house. I steal your car. And so now I got to somehow get your car or help you get your car back or whatever the case may be, right? I wreck it in a car in an accident as I take your car. If I'm wealthy, I can buy you a car. You now have your car back. Why should I do extra time? Maybe I'm wealthy. I'm a rich kid. and I stole your car, and my dad's rich, my mom's rich, and so I steal your car, I trash it, and my mom is rich. She owns an accounting firm, and she writes you a check for 40 grand, and you buy a new car, or whatever new cars cost now, right? You buy a new car. I still am a felon. I still go to jail. But say my sentence was 5 years, and if you get restored, it's only 3. So do 3 years. Well, then the poor guy, and I don't have to work. I could just hang out in prison for 3 years and not work because my mom wrote you a check. But if I'm a poor guy, I gotta work the 3 years to give you the same amount of money, so I can get out in 3 years with the 5. Or I say, the hell with you. I don't care about you. I'm not working. I gotta do 5 years. I'm not mad at that system. I'm not. The rich guy gets more time, but who cares? I still have a minimum I must do. I must be punished. Did something stupid. I stole someone's car and got into an accident. But if you get restored faster, why do I care? And that's the idea of restorative justice. I would rather have it to where it's not forced. That if I want to say hell no, then I can sit in prison for extra years. That's it. So yeah. Anyway, I like the idea of that. We're nowhere near there, right? We're nowhere near there. So yes. Mastermind says America is based on Old Testament God, not Jesus. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Yes, that's good. That's good. All righty. Let's see here. Robert says, I don't understand the rent control connection to housing prices. There's only so much space in places like San Francisco that's available to build. Different in Texas. Yes and no. Is space different? Of course. But if you take away the zoning, you can build up. Done deal. You can build up, right? When you zone place, you can't build up. When you have NIMBY, you can't build up. When you have landmark, you can't build up. When you have rent control, it doesn't make any sense. In other words, if I have rent control and say I have to, by default, I can only, do $1,000 a month, whatever it is. Well, now I got to build so many to make that money back. Well, otherwise I don't have to. If I don't have rent control, I could instead decide to build more or less, whatever I want. I can shift. Not just that. Rent control means that places that I would normally not build in because I have rent control, right? This is Mike's point. Mike says there's many buildings here. True. Why aren't people making them apartments? Because they can't make any money on it. Why? Because rent control. Right? If rent control means I'm not able. So I have a building here. And there's lots of buildings. If you go around New York City, you'll see lots of buildings. Nobody's in them. It's either a residential building that's been condemned. No one's building in it. Could be an old apartment. It could be an old office building. It could be all types of stuff. You see it everywhere around New York City. Why aren't people living there? They can't. Take away rent control. Take away zoning. Someone will build there. Now, what happens initially? Initially, people build and they keep all the prices up. Of course they do. And yes, they do. But it's a problem. Let's say all of a sudden, I'm making this up, obviously, it's an exaggeration on purpose. I'm exaggerating on purpose. They're able to, we get rid of all zoning, we get rid of all landmarking, we get rid of all that garbage here, all rent control in New York City. And it's like free for all. Wow, free for all? What will start happening? People will start building. For the sake of argument, we're able to build 100,000 new units in New York City next year, which in theory could happen. In practice, probably not. But in theory, could. If you also changes your DOB to make it shall issue versus may issue permits, you get 100,000 units put into New York City. Would they all be cheap? No. Would they all be affordable? No. Initially, they'd all be high because everybody would want the highest price. They'd all be 3, 4, 5, 10,000. Of course. Here's the problem. What will demand be? Demand won't be any high anymore because there's another 100,000 units. Demand's not going to be that high. So people aren't going to pay it. What will happen? The price will come down. Larry, the social stuff, prices never come down. Leftists always have price. They don't never lower prices. Literally always. Literally happening in Florida right now. Now happening in Florida, price coming down. Literally happened in Argentina. It's already happening in our country and others. When demand goes away, prices come down. It's like a law. It's how it works. I mean, it's like gravity. It's like gravity. It's how it always works. When I say always, every time, that's how it works. So initially, it would not. Initially, price will be high because everyone wants that most they can get for the spot. But once demand goes down, the price goes down. Why? It always does, every single time. So that's how that works. right? And Texas doesn't have that. So it's better. So I hope that at least makes sense at least. So, all righty. Let's see. Robert goes on to say, I would have been open to hearing Trump's plan on opportunity zones, but because he did not have someone who cared enough about black citizens to frame that discussion in a way where they benefit. Two pieces. He had Tim Scott, who does care about black people. I think he does. He's not the best spokesperson. I think that's true. He's the best spokesperson. But he does care about black people. I think he actually does. And if I'm not mistaken, he was raised by a black mother, which is not very common for the people who lead in America. Many people who lead in America who are black are often raised by non-black mothers. Kamala, non-black mother. Obama, non-black mother. I think it's common. He actually raised by a black mother. So that's something. Oh, black grandmother? No, black mother, Tim Scott. Any case, but I will agree with you on this. This Trump 2.0, his communication has been garbage. It's been terrible. Somehow he's still moving. I'm like, what is going on? How is he still keeping? Are the Democrats that bad? I mean, is that what it is? Absolutely. His has been garbage. Yes. Felicia, hey Larry, long time no see. How are you? I'm so glad you're here. Mamdani is going to win, and New York is going to crash and burn. I'm not sure Mamdani is going to win yet. I'm not prepared to make that call. I think we'll know for sure by next month. The question is, right? Is Cuomo raising a lot of money? Is Adams raising a lot of money? They're all trying right now to make that happen. That's the question. And of course, there's going to be pressure on Curtis Lee with a drop, of course. Of course there will be, right? The question is, will any of that work? I don't think any of that's done yet, Felicia. I think we'll know my guess would be by early September, we'll know if any of these machinations will work or not. I don't know if they will. If the machinations work and either Cuomo drops or Adams drops or Sliwa drops or whatever, if any of these other people drop, Mamdani will struggle. If none of them drop, I think you're right, Mamdani wins. So we'll see what happens. There's machinations going all over the place, I'm sure right now. I'm 100% sure. Yes. All right. Kitty says, Larry, have you been able to befriend Eric Adams or Cuomo's people to get a hold of their ears at all? No, not at all. Cuomo's people used to watch me back in the day. I don't think they do anymore. I have not heard him use any of my sayings. I haven't heard him. I haven't seen him put anything on his website. Nothing. I think his people basically either he has different people or they don't care about me anymore because they're not running for governor. But his people do not pay attention to me at all. They used to back in like 2019, 2020. They did pay attention to me. Not anymore. I don't think they pay attention to me at all. Eric Adams, I've met Eric Adams once, believe it or not, when he was still, he was borough president, Brooklyn borough president at the time. He spoke at a real estate event that I was attending. And then I literally told my buddy, I said, that's next governor, that's the next mayor of New York. He was that talented. I knew back then, next mayor of New York. I actually said it publicly, next mayor of New York. And he was. I was no doubt in my mind. But I met him once, but I mean, it was like with everybody else at an event. I don't think he'd remember me. I was part of a big crowd of people. That's what I met. I met Trump once too in a similar situation. This is before he was even running for president. So he was still doing The Apprentice. He was doing some kind of event at Trump Tower in Manhattan. My office was like a block away. So I went over there. He was doing some event for The Apprentice. My wife and I used to watch The Apprentice, his season 1 and 2, whatever. So it was back then, whenever that time was. We went over there and I met him there. But again, with a line of people, I'm sure he doesn't remember me. I was one of, I don't know how many guys shaking his hand and stuff. So that's a similar way I met Eric Adams. The event was much smaller for Adams. It was a pretty big event for Trump. So yeah. Cuomo's people, I've never met Cuomo. That's not true. I'm sorry. I've met Cuomo twice. I'm sorry. I met Cuomo twice. Yes, I met him twice. I met him once. The first time I met Cuomo was in 2014 at the debates in Buffalo. He was very dismissive of me then. I met him again in, was it 2018? I think 2018 at some joint event. I think it was, if I remember, a teachers union event, I think in 2018. Very dismissive again. No, it's a press event. Very dismissive again. Very dismissive. Hi, very dismissive. Cuomo's very dismissive of me. Eric Adams, when I met him, was very nice and polite. Hey, how you doing? He was very good to me. Very nice, polite, fun. He was the personality you see, the bubbly personality you see was who he was. That's who he was. Cuomo was insanely dismissive. So anyway, yes, I hope I answered your question. All right. Josh says you tax the wealth by tax consumption. That also works. You could do it also. Everything is better than taxing the work. So yeah, yes, absolutely. All righty. Patty says, can the aliens survey the planet already? I would solve our problems. That's true. Felicia says New York is better off keeping Eric Adams. You may not be wrong on that one.
And it ties directly into the Israel-Palestine issue. And a lot of 2028 presidential hopefuls, they don't want to be forced to take a stance now before they see who ends up winning this war within the party. And you might say they kind of already have taken a stance by not taking a stance, because, I mean, Cory Booker has already clearly showed his cards, right? But you have to understand that he's not the only potential 2028 contender who's dealing with the reality that their support for the genocidal Israeli state is going to be a liability for them in 2028. So the pro-Israel Democrats have cooked up a plan to respond to the base's recent shift on Israel. As CNN reports, they're trying to throw Netanyahu under the bus in hopes to salvage their pro-Israel position. Edward Isaac Dover reports.
This is actually a good strategy for the Democrats. Good strategy. If you blame Netanyahu, that's your scapegoat. It's actually not a bad plan. They're in a bad spot. This is probably their best way out. It's not a bad plan. Mashman says there has been more than 20 billion people alive. True, there haven't been a trillion people alive. That's why I know there's not a trillion people in America, because there haven't been a trillion people, period. That's not a thing. That's why I knew that. Gene says, Grüß Gott, Larry. I finally found you live while I'm at home. I liked and shared. Here's my first comment. Look at that. Guys, I'm going to ask you again. Please do me a favor. If you haven't already liked it, please do so. Follow what Gene is saying. And please like it. It does matter. Absolutely. We've been talking a lot about, how do we move forward, empathy, those types of things. With that in mind, here's what I'd like you to do. Do me a favor. Click the link that is in my show description on both YouTube and Facebook and Rumble, and click the one that goes over to the advocates. You'll see that right there. It says link to the advocates. Click that and go over and take the human respect test. Larry, I took it already. Take it again. Just take it. It does matter. Why? If you take this test again, you get to share it again. If you share it again, people will move over and start taking it too. I want people to do that. Yes. Yes. Please take it and share it. Head over to the advocates, click that button. It's free. Cost you nothing. Cost you nothing. It's free. I'm not even bugging you for cash. Usually I'm like, do this, do that, super chat me, whatever. Here I'm saying nothing. It's free. Come on now. It's like clicking the like button. It takes you 3 minutes for this one. Like button is only like 2 seconds. This one's like 3 minutes. So click take 3 minutes, take the test, and then share it. That's the most important piece. It will ask for your email. If you want to give it, go ahead. If you have already, it doesn't matter. Do so. If you already given it. If you haven't, you can still click the X button. You still get your results. Cut and paste, share the results, and put the same link that's in the description. Put that in when you share it. Please do that. Help me out. Support the advocates. Why? I use the test the advocates use all the time to get people to talk, to get people to have conversations. Please help out the Advocates for Self-Government, theadvocates.org. Click the description that's in the link. Please do that. Head on over there. Take the human respect test and share it. Thank you, guys. All right, I'm keep going here if I can. All righty. There are so many of these. I appreciate it. All right. I got to grab some of these. You have so many of these other. I'm trying to grab some of these if I can. All right. Rob Reese says, what do you think of Butch Ware's chance for California governor? I know Butch Ware. Butch Ware was the smartest thing. For those who don't know, Butch Ware was Jill Stein's VP pick. I only met him one time. He seemed nice when I met him. It was at a debate. He was with Jill Stein when she was debating. And so I met him one time. Nice guy. But I thought he was nice. But he's savvy because he's a Muslim, he's black, and he has charisma. In a case of the Green Party, that's a trifecta. Trifecta. If they would have taken him and Jill Stein, who, by the way, Jill Stein, a woman and Jewish, kept them together and put them into Michigan, they could have been the spoiler in Michigan. It was an absolute lost opportunity for the Green Party. They could have been the spoiler in Michigan. They weren't going to win Michigan, but there was an actual chance for them to be a spoiler. They didn't do it. Bad move. Bush was very charismatic. He is. But winning California, no way. California has what's called a jungle primary. For those who don't know what that means. I can't stand it. I think it's a terrible idea, but it's California. What do you expect? It's one general primary, and the top 2 people out of the entire general, it's open primary. Anyone can vote for anybody. And at the top 2 people go to the actual election at the time. So it's party doesn't matter. So in theory, you could have 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, 2 independents in theory. It's usually either 2 Democrats or Democrat Republican, one or the other, that who win the top 2 primaries. So Butch Ware has to get in the top 2 of a very crowded field. I think he has 0 chance of winning. Do I think he's a savvy guy who has good charisma? Yes, he's a college professor. He speaks similar, that college professory type that like Cornel West does. He's got charisma. He's good, but he has no chance. Because the reason he has no chance is not because he's a bad guy. That's not the reason. The jungle primary makes it impossible. I hope I answered your question. So yeah. Ryan says, Larry, I don't like change. You're scheduled to make a curveball. Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. Yeah, absolutely. All righty. Let's see here. Let me grab some more of these if I can. All right. Here, Chrissy says, force labor for prisoners. Other stupid prize for stupid gameplay. Well, yeah. Mike says, prison needs to be unpleasant again. Hard labor is part of that. I'm with you, but hard labor isn't by default unpleasant. Depends on who it is who's doing it. So I could see that, but I don't like the force part if I don't have to. If I could instead reward those who do the right thing, right? I'm now building habits of people to do the right thing and be rewarded. And I want that in my prison population. I want my prison many people, I think most, in fact, I'm going to say most, I'm pretty sure it's true. Most people who are in prison because they wanted a short-term gain for no long-term pain. They just want a short-term gain without the long-term pain. So they don't know how to delay gratitude. I'm sorry, gratification. They don't know how to delay gratification. I want them to learn how to delay gratification. So I want to set up a system to where they voluntarily begin to delay gratification. If you force them to labor, when they get outside, there won't be any force. Therefore, they won't labor. So I'm trying to build habits for those people. I want them to see others doing it, getting a benefit, and going, I want that too. So I would rather have, say, some guy who's going to spend 10 years in jail, see a guy who's got a 5-year prison sentence, go bust his ass and work hard, and get out 2 years early, and him go, well, I want that. Then get your ass to work. That's what I want. So again, this goes back to, I want to punish people. That's not effective. I get it feels good. I get it. Both you and Christina are like, but we got to punish. I get it. You want to punish. You're already losing your freedom for X number of years. That's already punishment. You're already forced to stay indoors and do what everyone tells you every day. That's already punishment. Now I want to build someone up to where they actually can function when they get out. I don't recidivism. I don't want people to come back out and go back in again, and I got to keep paying for them, and I can feel righteous by punishing them. I don't want that. I don't want that. So that's why I would change that. If that makes any sense. That is why I would change that. So, all right. James says the 2-party system should do hard labor. True. Kim says, by the way, Kim, you're one of the reasons why I did this one. Trump is doing all kinds of strange things to divert attention from the e-files. Yes, that's absolutely true. And here's the weird part. According to the recent polling, Kim, it's going to make you mad. It's working. Yeah. According to polling, it's actually working. People are starting to walk away from the e-files. I can't believe, I don't know. I keep saying this. Trump is some type of anomaly. I don't know how he does it. He just decides. And then it just happens. I don't know how. He just does it. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, my freedom says, gotta love when the supporters lash out. True. Felicia says, the Dems have been bad. They have been bad. Trump has been saying garbage and it gets overshadowed by the father of lunatics being so loud. Yeah, I think you're right. Christine says Trump has hit some stumbling blocks with communication. Seems like he can't avoid debate. Focus man. Two things. Thank you for this. Two things. One, you're right on both. That's why I'm going to go two. One, he hasn't been good at communication in general. And he has taken a bait more than once. He's given Democrats opportunities he should have given. I'm with you, Christine. I'm with you. Yes. Space Jason's over on Rumble. He says, Larry, hypothetical. If a literal I did not see that coming was legally elected president and an uprising / revolution formed to stop him, would you join? No. No, I would not. I would not. Why would I if it was literal and we voted that person in? Why would I? That means the majority of Americans want this, right? At that point, what am I doing? No. If one took over violently, yes. But if we actually voted one in, no. Why would I? Right? I mean, they're all saying it's Trump. Trump's not. That's just Democrats being crazy. It's not true. They said Obama was one. He's not. That's crazy. Not going to happen. What if he was Sharia law Muslim? No. Okay. We're not going to have Sharia law in America is not happening. It's not a thing. It isn't. That is people trying to, as Republican propaganda. That's not true. It's not going to happen. There is zero, let me say it again, zero chance of Sharia law coming to America. One more time, zero, not 10%, not 5%, zero. Utter garbage, Republican propaganda. Don't buy that shit. Not going to happen. Now, is it possible there will be local people who want to pick it up similar to the Amish? Like, could there be a local Sharia community like there's a local Amish group? Sure. But again, that'd be voluntary and I don't care. If you want to live your life that way, I would not, but that's fine. You think that's the way to keep you happy and you move into that community and that community ascribes by that law voluntarily. Good on you. I hope it makes you happy. And I'm not being facetious. I hope that makes you happy. And if you have a happy life that way, good on you. I'm not mad at you. So no, but Sharia law is never coming to America. That's not a thing. Please don't believe that silly Republican propaganda. It's not going to happen. That's people going to say, you're going to install. How do you install Sharia law? I mean, it's insanely dumb, but people believe it. Don't believe it. It's not true. Not a thing. What if he was a communist? Mamdani is going to become a communist. Is a communist basically going to, what? What do I care? If people are voting for it, why would I join a revolution? They're voting for it. They want it. If we've broken so much, and we're on our way to this space, it's a good point. We're on our way there. If we don't get a third-party alternative and a way of fixing our country, we are going to move towards some form of authoritarianism. We're already on our way. We're literally on the road right now. We're heading right towards it. Will that be more right-leaning or more left-leaning? I don't know. It might just rotate. But who cares? It goes authoritarian. Why? Unhappy people want socialism. Unhappy people want fascism. Unhappy people want authoritarianism. Unhappy people want communism. We are not happy. I keep saying that. I know I'm a goddamn broken record. It's true. I keep saying it. We're unhappy. As unhappy people want these things. Or Sharia law or whatever. But that's not going to happen. But anyway, whatever. So if we get that unhappy and we're that broken that we want a communist or we want whatever, a fascist, whatever we want. That's what we want. We're that unhappy. What am I going to do? I'm going to rally the people who just this can put me into camp and my family into camp. I'll either just live my life if I'm able to, or I'll leave. What else would I do? That's the end of the game. That's how it works. So, yeah, I know you don't like that, but I'm just being forward. You asked, I gave you an honest question, an honest answer. So, my freedom says maybe because he's guilty of bad behavior with people of the younger type. I think it's possible, but I think not likely. I don't think Trump did that. And I have no data. I could be wrong, my freedom. I could be wrong. But I feel like every time we've seen him, he obviously loves professional women. I think that's true. He's openly shared professional women with other people. We know this. That's documented. But never have these professional women been underage. They've always been adults. And as long as they're adults, I don't care. Do you. I'm not mad at them for that. If they're kids, that's a problem. I don't think so. My gut says it's not him with that. My gut says two things. One, he's worried that his obvious philandering, which I think is obviously true. Again, and I personally don't care about that. You can be a good president and still be a bad husband. Those things can be true. So I think his obvious philandering, he may not want that to come out because I think it's obvious that was true, right? But again, with adults, I don't care. Or a bunch of the people who are around him now, they might have done some things with the people of the younger type. And he doesn't want to be associated with them. They have to fire them, get rid of them. He may look terrible because of that. I think that's what my gut tells me. Again, my freedom, I don't have any data. Everything I've seen makes me think he didn't directly do it. That's what I think. I think we'll maybe one day find out, maybe not. So I don't know. Robert says, I would highly doubt Tim Scott helped frame opportunity zones in a way that considers how pernicious Black poverty is. I don't know. From what I know, I feel like Tim Scott did come from poverty. He might have, but he's kind of gone away. Like, I haven't seen Tim Scott much. He's kind of gone away. I don't know what happened. They kind of got rid of him. So, yeah. Felicia says, Larry, I don't know how Democrats can recover. They want to keep going more left and more socialism when most people lean towards the middle. Who is their strategist? She goes on to say, if the Dems haven't turned their backs on RFK Jr., will Trump? If the Dems haven't turned their backs on RFK Jr., well, Trump probably wouldn't have won. The only reason, in my opinion, Trump won is because of Bobby, and the Dems just think going more left is the answer. Let me grab a couple of these things. Number one, the average Democrat does not think that. The average Democrat does not want to go far left. They don't. In fact, they're tired of it. I meet many of them. The average one is not that way. But the Democratic Party is becoming, or has become already, the party of educated women. That's really who their target market is. That's who they speak to. That's who most of the leadership is. They're the party of educated women. So where educated women go is where the Democratic Party goes, if that makes any sense. So they are less woke than they've ever been, but some are still woke. It's true. Some still are. So that part is never going to go away. The difference is, will they also go economic left, which Mamdani is an example of that. I think that's what people actually want. Many people actually do want socialism. They do. I know it sounds crazy. Obviously, I don't, but many people do. Why? Because they want anything that will work. Unhappy people are going to want socialism. So there is some of that. How will they make things work better? Two things could happen. One, Donald Trump could blow his 4-year term away. He could have a terrible economy, trash. That could happen. If he's that bad, people will Democrat because they don't know any better, right? It'll be this, I hate Trump because he destroyed everything. That could happen. Trump is gambling. My gut, and I said this before, I think by next year, Trump is going to go one way or the other. Either it's going to be, oh my God, everything he said actually worked. Oh my God, he's one of the greatest presidents ever. Or, oh my God, he's wrecked it all. He's the worst president ever. I think he's going to go one way or the other. That's what my gut tells me. I'm not prepared to say which one yet. I think it's still up in the air, but I think it can go either way. If it goes to where, oh my God, he's the greatest president in the world, Democrats are screwed. If it goes to, oh my God, he's the worst president in the world, Democrats will be fine because people will go back to them, because that's what James Carville says. James Carville believes that Trump is going to screw this up horribly. I don't know why he believes it. Maybe he knows him. I don't know. Maybe he's smarter than me or has some inside information. But he is sure, Carville is sure, Trump is going to wreck this, destroy it all, be terrible, and people are going to run back Democrats. If Carville is right, doesn't matter. Now, the part that Trump wouldn't have won, I don't know if Trump would have won. He might have still won. Maybe. I don't know the details of it. Here's what I know. He would have not won the popular vote from Harris without RFK Jr. RFK Jr. is the reason why I got the mandate. That I say is true. I think data shows that to be true. Would he have won? He might have still won. He might, because he won all 7 swing states. So I don't think we can, with any real confidence, say he wouldn't have won the election without RFK Jr. I think we can say with confidence he got the mandate because of him. That's my gut. I hope that makes sense, at least what I'm saying. So Josh says, I don't like jingle primaries. Yes, I agree with you. I think it's terrible. Yes. Mike says, interesting point of view on hard labor. Not sure if I completely agree. I know, because I want restorative justice. I want people to go to jail and come out and then pay back what they've done. Well, I can't do that if I'm just punishing them. It doesn't work. We see it. Most people who go to jail, most are simply a menace to society for their entire life. And that's sad. They should not be. Most of them are. Not all, obviously. Look, my mom was a felon. I said openly. My mom, when she got out, she worked, she paid taxes, she was clean. She was an addict. She was clean till the day she died. So I want everyone to be that way. If you go to jail, in my perfect magical world, in my utopia, Mike, you go to jail, you learn something, you change your mindset, you try to make your victims whole to the best of your ability, you get out and you're able to be a productive member of society, pay your taxes, do the right thing, and never go back to jail again. That's my perfect world, right? That's what I would love. But I don't know. I don't know if I can, if it can go that way. I'd want to get as close to that as possible. There we go. I want to get to as close to that as possible. So yeah. All righty. I'll grab some of these. Joel says, is Hannity still fear-mongering the Sharia law coming to us? Probably. Hannity's always pumping. Hannity's Mr. Propaganda. He's Mr. Propaganda. Of course he is. Yes. So I don't know. Christine says, I don't know about that, Larry. I've been to Dearborn lately. All the signs are in Arabic. It doesn't, okay. That doesn't mean the country's going to Sharia law. Number one, doesn't mean that. So there's lots of areas in New York where the signs are all in Chinese. Doesn't mean we're all communists now. I mean, we are, but not because of that. That had nothing to do with it, right? There's Chinese all over the place. Areas in New York where they're in Spanish. So, I don't think being in a foreign language, that doesn't necessarily mean that now we're joining the law. And even if, let's say, Dearborn locally wants to adopt some Sharia law type things, it can if it wants to. Let it do so. Why do I don't care. If they're, I don't know Dearborn very well. I know it's heavily Muslim. If the Muslim people there want to be more of a Muslim type group, I'm not mad at them. Doesn't mean the country's going that way. Maybe a small area will. I'm okay with that. Let them. Again, if that makes them happy, yeah, I'm okay. Dave says, Larry, Sharia law is also Mises Caucus propaganda by some members. And also stupid. It doesn't matter. They should know better. They should know better. Right? So yeah, I hope they're not saying that. It's never going to happen. Not a thing. Not a thing. It's not a thing. Again, might there be some local pieces? Yeah, it's fine. Absolutely. Kim says Trump is that may be true. That may be true. It doesn't mean he does it with the youngins. If a woman wants to voluntarily indulge with him, either paying or not, I don't have a problem with that. Don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with their kids. That's it. I have a problem with their kids. Josh says, LBJ destroyed the black community to great society. True. Accurate statement. Yep. 100%. That absolutely happened. I agree. Yep. All right. Christine says, Carver's a loon. He's not what he used to be. That's true also, but it doesn't mean he's wrong on this one. I don't know. This is the problem. I don't know. I tease Mike on this because Mike Voss will often count chickens before they're hatched, right? I'm always like, don't count your chickens already. Now, he's not always wrong. Sometimes he counts them and they come out what he said. He's not always wrong, but he likes to count chickens before they're hatched. I don't. Carville's counting chickens before they're hatched. He might be right. It's possible, but I can't imagine someone, unless he knows something totally crazy. I mean, I can't imagine him being that sure that Trump's going to just trash everything. He said initially, he said it was like the first 6 months or whatever, and he was wrong. So he might be wrong again. He's counting chickens. I'm not there. All righty. Let's see here. Josh says prison should be about rehabilitation instead of punishment. Yeah. Felicia says Hannity hasn't done that. He's a lot better than his younger days. Oh, that's good. I'm glad. I am glad. Mastermind always got jokes. I bet the street signs are even in Arabic numbers. You got jokes now, Mastermind? Okay, you got jokes. That's fine. All right, yes. All righty. Kitty says, those Dearborn immigrants came there legally for the most part. They are chill. That's also true. Yeah, most of them are. Yes, that's also true. Yeah. All righty. Robert says, Democrats are banking on Trump screwing up so badly that people fear vote for Democrats. Yes, that's why Orange Man Bad works. It raises money too. instead of actually listening to the grassroots agenda and adopting their policies. Accurate. That's true. Democrats have an opportunity. Mamdani is actually an opportunity for them, right? He is. Marikua says, sorry, for murder, no rehab. Of course there's rehab for murder. Murder isn't life sentence. Murder isn't life sentence, Marikua. It's not life sentence. There are people, I literally met someone about a month ago who got out, and they are a convicted felon charged with murder. They got out. So no, there are absolutely there can be rehab. Now it depends on what you do, how you do it. Is it first degree? Is it by mistake? Whatever, right? Is it what happened? But yeah, of course it can be. Of course it can be. So Sharpe Fan 12 says the enterprise zones saw a large increase in minority-owned small businesses, and then COVID destroyed. Yes, the lockdowns destroyed, not COVID, lockdowns. Lockdowns destroyed them. You are correct. Speaking to sure. Lockdowns destroyed them. That was the issue. Guys, I want to ask you if I can, as I always do, remember to click the like button. Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. If you haven't clicked it, please click it. It does matter. Absolutely, please click it. Also, remember, we're on Spotify. If you are on Spotify listening, make sure you give us the 5-star rating if you would, and share it around. It does matter. But you know that YouTube has changed Interact with us if you haven't. Once this is over, please do me a favor. Once it's over, make sure you comment afterwards. And please tell me, what do you think about Democrats supporting Mamdani? What do you think about either Mamdani himself, if you want to go there, or what Democrats think, or what do you think about Democrats supporting Mamdani? What do you think about that happening in New York? What will it affect? What will be the future? What will happen? Please tell me what you think. I appreciate that. Remember, this is not live. If it's not live, please do me a favor. You're going to see 2 videos pop up. Click on one of them and watch for these 8 minutes. Algo loves that too. Tomorrow, civil only, and then no show Thursday. Friday, are you smarter than a politician? Saturday, AMA. 2 videos pop up. Watch one. I'll see you all very soon.